Here's the truth. Knowing something in your head is not the same as communicating it clearly under pressure. A lot of smart people have watched their brains leave during an oral board. It happens. The panel asks you a question, your mouth gets dry, and time slows down. And then suddenly, your best answer is 3 words and a grunt, along with a blinking stare. That's why preparation matters.
This is Blue Leader Nation. Blue Leader Nation. We're here to develop those men and women in law enforcement who want to be respected leaders and to mold you into becoming a legendary leader. If it's leadership, personal growth, and self-development, we're talking about it. Whether you're new or a veteran, you've found your new home. This is the Blue Leader Nation. Now, here's your host, Dr. Ed Palace.
Hello and welcome back to the Blue Leader Nation podcast. I'm your host, Ed Palace, and today we're going to talk about police promotion. More specifically, what to expect and how to begin. If you think the promotion process starts when the announcement comes out, there's a good chance you're already behind. Now, that may sound a little blunt, but it's true. A lot of good officers make the same mistake. They wait until the process is officially announced. They wait for the reading list. They wait for the test date. They wait until the pressure becomes real. Then they try to throw together a study plan. Wait, that's not true. Most of the time, there is no plan. They pull out some old notes from a drawer. They drink enough coffee to power a small city, and they hope for the best. That's not a strategy. That is a stress response. Now, the strongest candidates usually do something different. They start preparing earlier. They do some investigating to learn the process. They study with purpose. And just as important, they begin thinking like the next rank before they ever walk into the testing room. So, in today's episode, I want to walk you through 3 things. First, why you should seriously consider promotion. Second, what the typical promotion process often looks like. And third, how to begin preparing in a smart and practical way without getting overwhelmed. This episode is not designed to be a complete masterclass on promotion. I do want to give you something useful. I want to help you better understand the road in front of you, because when people understand the road, they tend to travel it with a lot more confidence. So let's start with the first question. Why should you even consider promotion? And before we answer that, let me say this as clearly as I can. Promotion is not for everybody. Not every officer or deputy wants rank. Not every officer or deputy or civilian employee needs rank to have a meaningful career. And not pursuing promotion does not make someone less committed, less valuable, or less professional. I have known many outstanding officers, detectives, deputies, professional staff members who served at a high level for years without chasing that next stripe, bar, or title. They had real impact. They had credibility. They had pride in their work, and they mattered. So this is not an episode built on guilt. I'm not saying every good officer has to promote, but I am saying this. If you've ever looked at a current supervisor and thought, if Sergeant McClowneytown can be promoted, or I'll be damned if I'm going to work for Lieutenant Bluey Falcon, or I can't be any worse than Captain Paperclip. If you've ever looked around at your organization and thought there needs to be better leadership, we need more consistency, we need better communication, we need more courage, we need more accountability, then promotion may be one of the ways you can help answer those problems. Because promotion gives you influence. It gives you a stronger voice in how things are done and how things are run. It gives you the ability to shape standards, culture, expectations, and performance. It gives you the chance to protect what is working, what to improve, and what is not working. And that matters. A lot of officers think about promotion mainly in terms of personal advancement. We think better pay, better schedule, better retirement, more opportunity. And those things are real. They matter. We all like noble purpose, but noble purpose and a stronger pension can coexist peacefully in the same household. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging the practical side of promotion, but the deeper reason to consider promotion is impact. At a higher rank, your words travel farther. Your decisions affect more people. Your attitude shapes the climate around you. Your example carries more weight, but you're no longer just responsible for your own performance. You're helping create the conditions that affect everyone else's performance, and that's a big deal. Promotion is also about growth. At some point, many officers hit a moment where they start asking bigger questions. Do I want more responsibility? Do I want a bigger challenge? Do I want to coach others instead of just handling my own calls? Do I want to help younger officers avoid mistakes I made? Do I want to lead in a way that makes this place better than I found it? Those are healthy questions. For some people, the answer is no, and that's okay. For others, the answer is yes. And if that's you, then promotion is worth serious consideration. Now, there's another side to this, and it's important. You need to be honest with yourself about why you want to promote. If the main reason is status, ego, power, or escape, then you're on shaky ground. If the main reason is you're thinking, I'm tired of this assignment and I want a better seat, that may be understandable, but I don't think it's enough. If the main reason is you think people finally need to recognize how good I am, then you're in for a rough leadership journey for both you and the people around you. Leadership has a way of exposing motives. Rank doesn't fix insecurity, it amplifies it. Rank doesn't create character, it reveals it. So here's a better question to ask yourself. Do I want the next rank because I want the title or because I want the responsibility that comes with that title? That question matters because if what you want is greater influence in the service of better leadership, better standards, better mentoring, and better outcomes, then that is solid ground. So let's move on to the second question. What does the typical promotion process look like? And the first thing to say here is that every agency is different. The process can vary from state to state, even by departments within state, by labor agreement, by civil service system, by local rules, and by different ranks. So what I'm about to describe is a broad overview, not a one-size-fits-all formula. But even with all that variation, most promotion processes include a combination of a few familiar components. The first one, across the board, is often a written exam, usually a multiple choice test. This may cover policies, procedures, laws, leadership, principles of supervision, ethics, and assigned reading materials. In some agencies, it's heavily policy-driven. In others, it may include scenario-based judgment questions or broader leadership content. Sometimes the written exam is weighed heavily. Sometimes it's simply one piece of a larger process. The second common component is an oral board or a structured oral interview. This is where candidates sit in front of a panel and answer questions that may deal with leadership, decision-making, communication, conflict, discipline, accountability, let's go on, motivation, ethics, or organizational challenges. This part often reveals an uncomfortable truth for some candidates. Here's the truth. Knowing something in your head is not the same as communicating it clearly under pressure. A lot of smart people have watched their brains leave during an oral board. It happens. The panel asks you a question, your mouth gets dry, and time slows down. And then suddenly, your best answer is 3 words and a grunt, along with a blinking stare. That's why preparation matters. The third common component is some sort of assessment center or practical exercise. This can include an in-basket exercise, maybe even role plays, a counseling session role play, emergency the world is ending type scenarios, written assignments, presentations, community problem-solving task, or supervisory simulations. These are designed to measure not just your knowledge, but your judgment, your communication, your organization, your leadership presence, and your ability to perform under pressure. Some agencies also factor in performance evaluations, seniority, education, commendations, resume packets, or even time and grade. Some use multiple hurdles. Some combine scores in a final ranking. Some require you to pass one stage before going to the next. Again, it varies across the country. But here's the big idea. Promotion is usually not just a test of memory. It's a test of your readiness. Yeah, you need knowledge. Yes, you need familiarity with policies and law. Yes, you need to know your organization and its expectations. But you're being evaluated on things like judgment, composure, professionalism, and your ability to think like the next rank. That is where many candidates get tripped up. They prepare as if the process is only academic. They study facts and terms and policy and language. They don't prepare to communicate with confidence. They do not prepare to organize an answer. They do not prepare for leadership questions. They don't prepare to handle scenarios in a way that reflects maturity, perspective, and command presence. In other words, they prepare for the test, but not for the role they're being tested for. That's a mistake because the assessors are asking themselves, can I picture this candidate in the next job? Can I see this person as a sergeant, as a lieutenant? Can I see this person, this candidate standing in front of me, leading people, making decisions, solving problems, and representing the organization well? Those questions matter more than any candidates realize. It's not enough to know policy. You need to sound like someone who can apply it. It's not enough to say leadership buzzwords. You need to show that you think like a leader. It's not enough to want promotion. You need to demonstrate readiness for it. And that brings us to the third question. How do you begin preparing? Now, I want this part to be useful without turning into a 6-week boot camp. So I'm going to give you principles. These are the kinds of things that can help almost anyone in almost any agency begin preparing in a smarter way. The first step is to understand your agency's process. Get the announcement when it comes out. Better yet, find the announcement from the previous promotion process. But don't stop there. Read them carefully. Study the process itself. What are the components? What are the deadlines? What is weighted heavily? What comes first? Is there a list of reading materials? What dimensions are being tested? Is there a minimum passing score? Is there an oral board? Is there an assessment center? Is there a writing exercise? You need to know the game before you can learn how to play it well. I know this sounds obvious, but a surprising number of people enter the promotion process with only the vaguest understanding of what's actually coming. And they might even prepare hard, but they prepare in the wrong direction. They put most of their time into one area while ignoring other parts that may carry equal or even greater weight. That's like training for a foot chase and then showing up to a swim meet. Effort is good. Relevant effort is better. Second, start earlier than you think you need to. This is one of the biggest differences between candidates who feel constantly rushed and candidates who look calm and prepared. Early preparation gives you options. It gives you time to read without panic. It gives you time to review material more than once, more than twice. It gives you time to practice speaking. It gives you time to work on areas in which you're weak in. It gives you time to build confidence instead of trying to borrow it all at the last minute. Late preparation creates urgency. Early preparation creates capacity. And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Cramming feels productive because it's intense, but intensity is not the same as if panic can make you feel like you're working hard while your retention quietly drives off in the opposite direction. Third, focus on active preparation, not passive exposure. Reading matters. Highlighting helps. Reviewing notes is fine. But if your entire study strategy consists of reading the material, hoping it sticks, you're probably giving yourself too much credit. You want to actively engage with what you're learning. Ask yourself questions. Try to explain a policy in plain language. Sometimes that's very difficult, but if you can do it, then that means you know it. Talk through scenario responses out loud. Create sample oral board questions and answers. Turn key concepts into flashcards or prompts. Summarize what you read from memory, not by looking back at the page. Apply what you're learning to realistic leadership situations, because promotion preparation is not about putting information in. It's about making sure you can retrieve it, explain it, and apply it when it counts. Fourth, pay attention to what is actually being scored. If your agency identifies dimensions such as communication, judgment, planning, leadership, what's another one? Interpersonal skills, decision-making, take those seriously. They are not decorative. They're not words sprinkled into the announcements to make it look official. Those are the clues. If communication is being scored, practice communicating. If judgment is being scored, practice thinking through scenarios. If leadership is being scored, prepare answers that reflect initiative, accountability, fairness, and perspective. Too many candidates study content and ignore performance dimensions. Then they wonder why they knew the material but didn't score as highly as they expected to. The process is not only asking, do you know this? It's asking, can you demonstrate this? Where are we? Fifth, begin with developing the mindset of the next rank now. I'm going to say that again. Develop the mindset of the rank you're testing for right now. This doesn't mean pretending you're already promoted, kind of. I mean, don't become unbearable at roll call. Your coworkers deserve peace. What it does mean is this: start expanding how you think. Pay attention to how supervisors prioritize issues. Notice how discussions affect morale, operations, and liability. Study how good leaders communicate under stress. Practice thinking about the bigger picture, not just your current assignment. Become more solution-oriented. Build this habit. Ask yourself, if I were in the next role, what would matter here? Because the best candidates are often not starting from zero when the process begins. The best candidates have already been observing, thinking, and developing. They're not trying on leadership like a costume. They've been growing into it. Okay, now let me give you a few common mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, waiting for motivation. A lot of people think they will begin when they feel fully motivated, and that's cute. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days it shows up. Some days it's on your vacation, with your discipline, out the window. What works better is routine. Even a modest, consistent preparation routine beats occasional burst of panic-fueled studying. Make it a habit. Mistake number 2 is assuming your reputation alone will carry you. Being respected on the job matters. It absolutely does. Credibility matters. Performance matters. But being a solid officer or deputy or civilian manager doesn't automatically mean you are ready to test well in a promotion process. Those are all related, but not identical. They're not identical skill sets. Promotion processes often reward preparation, structure, articulation, and the ability to demonstrate leadership under evaluation conditions. You may be excellent on the street, but you might still need work in the testing environment because they're different. All right, mistake number 3 is ignoring oral communication. A lot of candidates are reasonably comfortable reading and studying, but far less comfortable answering complex questions out loud in a structured way. And the oral board, the assessment center, is going to expose that weakness. Now, practice helps. Even talking through your answers by yourself helps. You need to hear your own thinking. You need to get comfortable organizing ideas quickly and speaking in a way that is calm, clear, and professional. Mistake number 4, underestimating scenario-based testing. Scenarios are not just about having the right answer. They're often about how you approach the problem, how you prioritize, how you communicate, what risk you identify, and whether you sound like someone who can lead. That means your process matters, your structure matters, your tone matters. Mistake number 5, preparing only as a student and not as a future leader. You're not just trying to pass something. You're preparing to step into greater responsibility. This means your development should not only be academic, it's got to be professional, behavioral, and mental. How do you handle stress? How do you speak to people? How do you carry yourself? How do you make decisions? How do you balance policy, people, and mission? Those things matter. Now, let me talk for a moment to the officer who is listening and thinking, this sounds important, but honestly, it also sounds like a lot. I get it. Promotion can feel intimidating because it's not just one test. It's often a process, a layered process, a process with deadlines, expectations, competition, pressure, and uncertainty. And for many people, that uncertainty is what creates the most stress. But here's the good news. You don't have to figure out everything today. You don't need the perfect study plan by tonight. You don't need to become a polished candidate in one weekend. You can't. You just need to begin. Begin by getting clear on your why. Begin by learning your process. Begin by gathering your materials, setting aside consistent time to study. Begin by practicing instead of only reading. Begin by thinking like the next rank. Progress starts with clarity and action, not perfection. That matters because many good candidates talk themselves out of preparation by feeling overwhelmed. They think, I'm already behind, so what's the point? The point is this: starting now is still better than starting later. Starting imperfectly is still better than waiting for the magical day when everything feels organized and easy. That day rarely arrives. Okay, so it's time to bring this episode to a close. But first, a quick update about science in the news. The scientist who cloned the first human being allegedly pushed that person out of a high-story window for making inappropriate remarks. Police have charged the scientist with making an obscene clone fall. I'll give you a second. All right, you got to admit, that was good. That was good. Okay, sometimes my humor is unappreciated. Okay, so if promotion is something you've been considering, I would encourage you to take it seriously, not casually, not someday, today. Take it seriously. Ask yourself why you want it. Ask yourself whether you are willing to prepare for it. Ask yourself whether you're ready to grow into that responsibility that comes with promotion. Then start moving. Get informed, get organized, get consistent, get better. Because the promotion process does not begin when the announcement comes out. By that point, a lot of real work should already be underway. And remember this, promotion is not just about getting selected. It's about becoming ready, ready to lead, ready to communicate, ready to think at a higher level, and ready to serve with a greater responsibility. That is the bigger mission. So before I wrap up, I want to mention one thing, and I'll keep it simple. If this episode has you thinking more seriously about promotion, and you're realizing that you could benefit from a more structured way to begin preparing, I do offer a police promotion challenge. I only do it a couple times a year. It's designed for candidates who want help getting focused, organized, and moving in the right direction. It's not about magic tricks or shortcuts. It's about helping people like you prepare with more clarity and direction. So, if that sounds helpful to you, keep an eye out for information on my police promotion challenge. The website information should be in the comments section, or you can go to www.blueleadernation.com/promotion-ready. blueleadernation.com/promotion.ready. And if you're not ready for that, that's okay too. Start with what we talked about today. Understand your process. Start earlier than you think you need to. Prepare actively. Practice communicating. Develop the mindset of the next rank now. That alone will put you ahead of a lot of people. Thank you for spending some time with me today on the Blue Leader Nation podcast. If this episode was helpful, please share it with another person who might be thinking about promotion or leadership. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me this. What part of the promotion process feels most confusing to you right now? Until next time, Keep leading, keep learning, and keep showing up like the leader your people need. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Blue Leader Nation podcast. Our passion is anyone within the thin blue line who want to take it to the next level. We hope you didn't mind the dad jokes, by the way. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.blueleadernation.com.